published his book, A Dog of Flanders, Nello and Patricio. A long time ago, a little boy lived in Flanders. His name was Nello, and he lived with his grandfather. When Nello was a baby, his parents died, so his grandfather took care of him. Every morning, grandfather woke up very early and collected milk from the neighbor's cow. Then he delivered the milk to the town of Antwerp. When grandfather pulled the milk cart, Nello pushed it from behind. They were poor, but they lived happily together. One summer day, Nello and grandfather were coming home after work. They saw a big dog lying on the roadside. The dog looked weak and very sick. Grandfather looked at the dog carefully. "Is it dead?" said Nello. "No, but I'm afraid he's dying," said grandfather. "Can we take him home?" said Nello. "Well, I think we have to find his owner," said grandfather. They looked around but couldn't find the owner of the dog. "We can't let him die," said grandfather. "Let's take him home." Nello and grandfather took the poor dog. Their hut. They took good care of him and named him Patricio. Patricio soon became healthy again. When he finally stood up, Nello cried for joy. "Grandpa, come and see Patricio." "Oh, he's well now," grandfather said with a smile. Patricio barked and barked cheerfully. He seemed to say, "Thanks so much." Next morning, Nello and grandfather were preparing the milk delivery. Patricio walked to the cart and he stood between his handles. It looked like he wanted to pull the cart. "Grandpa, he wants to help you," said Nello. "It's too heavy for him," said grandfather. He gently pushed Patricio aside. Then Patricio tried to draw the cart with his heels. At last, grandfather let Patricio help him. Nello and grandfather delivered the milk more easily with Patricio. Patricio pulled the cart every morning. In the afternoon, he slept in the sun or played with Nello. Patricio was very happy in his new home. As time went by, grandfather became very weak. He would no longer go out to work, so Nello did the milk delivery with Patricio. He was just a little boy, but he did it very well and proudly. Grandfather greeted him warmly when they came home. Passion for art. In Antwerp, Nello sometimes went into the cathedral, but when he came out, he always looked very sad. "I wish I could see the pictures," he said. "They were covered in curtain. I must pay to see them, but I have no money." He gently hugged Patricia and said, "If I could see them, I would die happy." The picture were the elevation of the cross and the descent of the cross. They were painted by the great artist Rubens. Nello deeply admired him. "I want to be a famous painter like him," whispered Nello. Patricio licked Nello's hand softly. Nello knew his grandfather wouldn't understand his dream, so he talked about it only to Patricio and Alois. Alois was a pretty girl. She lived at the mill house. She often played with Nello and Patricio. One day, Alois asked Nello to draw her portrait. She sat on the glass and posed for him. Nello started to draw her portrait. After a while, Alois' father came along. He found his door with Nello. "Alois, go home and help your mother," he shouted angrily. "That I just," Alois began to say, but she didn't finish. "Go home right now," said her father. She ran home crying. Alois' father took the portrait from Nello's hand. He looked at it and was very surprised. It looked just like his daughter. "Why are you wasting your time doing this?" he asked. I like drawing. I draw everything," said Nello. Alois' father took a silver coin out of his pocket. "Drawing is a waste of time," he said, but her mother really liked these pictures. "Take this money and give it to me." "I don't want money, Mr. Kojak," said Nello. "You can't have the picture." Then he called Patricia and walked away. "If I had that money, I could see the painting in the cathedral, said Nello to Patricia, but I couldn't sell her picture. Mr. Kojas didn't like Nello. Don't let Alois play with Nello, he said to his wife. But he's a kind and diligent boy, said his wife. The boy is poor, said Mr. Kojas, and he wants to be an artist. Artist is worse than the beggar. Keep them apart, or I will send her to live with the nuns. Alois and Nello couldn't play together anymore. A few days later, Alois came to see Nello. Nello, my death is so unfair, said Alois. You did nothing wrong. Alois, don't be angry with your father, said Nello. He's a good man and loves you very much. Someday I will be a great artist, and then your father will like me. With a sad smile, he sent her away. Nello was secretly preparing for his future. After work, he went to the shed behind the hut. He drew the portrait of Woodman there. No one taught him how to draw, but he had a talent for art. He had no color, so he drew with charcoal only. But his drawing was beautiful, even in black and white. Nello wanted to enter his drawing in the contest in Antwerp. The contest was open to everybody under the age of 18. And the prize was 200 francs. Patricia, I really want to win, said Nello. If I get the prize, I can study art. Patricia wagged his tail cheerfully. At last, Nello finished his drawing. He put it carefully on the milk cart, and he went with Patricia into town. He left his drawing at City Hall. I did my best, he thought. But Nello felt a great fear on the way back. Perhaps my drawing isn't good at all, he thought. As he went by the cathedral, he saw a statue of Rubens there. The great artist seemed to be smiling at him and saying, "Have courage, my little friend." Nello came home feeling comfort. Flying at the mill. Snow fell for many days. It was hard for Patricia to pull the cart over the snow. Last at home, Patricia, said Nello, I can't pull the cart. But every day Patricia pulled the cart into town. Patricia knew only he could help Nello. One afternoon, Nello and Patricia found a pretty doll on the road. Nello tried to find its owner, but he couldn't. Then he thought, Alice will like it. It was dark when they arrived at the mill house. Nello climbed up to Alice's window and tapped softly. Alois, it's me, whispered Nello. Alois opened the window and looked out. Nello, said Alois with a big smile. I found the door in the snow. Take it, said Nello. He gave it to her and quickly climbed down. Soon he disappeared into darkness. That night there was a big fire at the mill. Fire, fire, shouted Mr. Kojas. All the villagers ran to put out the fire. Fortunately, the fire was soon under the controls. Then the Mr. Kojas saw Nello among the people. He became very angry. Nello, he yelled, I saw you wandering around here after dark. I'm sure you started the fires. No, Mr. Kojas, I didn't do it, said Nello, feeling hurt. None of the villagers really believed Mr. Kojas' word, but they had to please him because he was rich and powerful. So they began to whisper that Nello started fire. Only Mrs. Kojas defended Nello. Nello is innocent, he said. You must apologize to him. Mr. Kojas wouldn't change his mind, but in his heart he knew he was wrong. The villagers turned against Nello after the fire. They gave their milk to another man from Antwerp. Nello didn't know about it. As usual, he and Patricia went to collect the milk, but the villagers said nothing and shut their doors. One farmer's wife spoke to Nello. I'm sorry, Nello. We don't want to make Mr. Kojas angry. Patricia's milk cart became very light, and Nello had little money. Life became harder for Nello, Patricia, and old grandfather. The weather was very cold, and small river was frozen. Christmas was coming, and the village was happy and cheerful. Even the poor people had cake, sweet, and hot drink. But in the little hut, there was no warm food. A few days before Christmas, Grandpa died in his sleep. Nello and Patricia found him next morning. They were very shocked. "Grandpa, Grandpa," called Nello, but Grandpa didn't answer. Nello and Patricio were filled with great sadness. They cried and cried. Now they were left all alone in the world. None of the villagers came to Grandfather's funeral. Patricio touched Nello's hand softly with his nose. He knew Nello's heart was empty. When they arrived home, the owner of the hut was waiting for them. "Nello, you owe a month's rent," said the owner. "Pay the rent right now or leave the hut." "I have no money for the rent," said Nello. "Please give me some time to get the money." "No, if you don't pay, you can't stay," said the owner. Nello begged again, but the owner told Nello to leave the next morning. All night, Nello and Patricio sat close together. It made their body warm, but their hearts seemed frozen. Hopeless dream. When morning coming, Antwerp. It was Christmas Eve. "We need to leave, Patricio," said Nello. Nello and Patricio went slowly along the road into Antwerp. The winner of the contest would be announced today. It was still very early, but some villagers were awake. Nello stopped at the house. He looked inside and asked a woman, "Would you give Patricio a piece of bread?" "He hasn't had anything to eat since yesterday." But the woman shut the door quickly. "Just wait, Patricio," said Nello. "If I win, we will have something delicious to eat." Nello and Patricio went on again, heartbroken and weary. Finally, they reached City Hall. Many boys and girls are already there. They were all with parents and relatives or friends. Nello missed Grandfather a lot. He held Patricio close to him. At noon, the door of City Hall were opened. The crowd went inside to see the winning picture. At first, Nello was so nervous that he couldn't see it. When he saw the picture, he almost fainted. It was not his picture. Nello ran aside and fell onto the ground. "It's all over, dear Patricio," cried Nello. "It is all over." Patricio licked Nello's face and head. Nello went back to his village. Patricio walked slowly by his side. They were weak from hunger and sorrow. It was already dark when they reached the village. Suddenly, Patricio stopped. He began to scratch the snow. Then he pulled a wallet from the snow with his teeth. Nello looked carefully at the wallet. "There is the name of Mr. Cozes," he said. Nello found 2,000 francs in it. "He will be worried. Let's go and give it to him," said Nello. "Good dog." He gently patted Patricio. They walked toward the mill house. When Nello knocked on the door, Mrs. Cozes opened it. She was weeping and Alois was standing beside her. "Poor Nello," said Mrs. Cozes kindly. "Go before my husband sees you." He went out to look for his wallet. If he doesn't find it, he will lose everything. Nello gently put the wallet in her hand. Mrs. Cozes was so surprised that she couldn't speak. Nello thought for a moment. Then he called Patricio into the house. "Patricio found the wallet," said Nello. "Please feed him and take care of him." Nello kissed Patricio and quickly closed the door. "Nello, wait," said Alois, but he had disappeared into the night. Alois and her mother tried to comfort Patricio. They brought him sweet cake and juice meat. They tried to bring him close to the fire, but he wouldn't eat. He wouldn't move from the door. He only tried to open the door. After a while, Mr. Cozes came home. "The money is lost forever," he said in trembling voice. "I have looked everywhere. It's gone." His wife gave him the wallet. "Nello gave it to me," said Dad. He said Patricio found it in the snow. He's such an honest boy. Mr. Cozes sank into a chair and covered his face. He was very ashamed. "I've been very bad to Nello. I don't deserve his kindness," he said. "I will apologize to him tomorrow." Together forever. Many visitors came to the Miss Cozes' house. They all enjoyed Christmas Eve. The house was bright and warm, and the tables were filled with delicious food. But Patricio wanted only Nello. He kept looking for a chance to go outside. Finally, a careless visitor left the door open. Patricius ran outside as fast as he could. He followed Nello's footprint, but they were almost gone in the falling snow. So he followed Nello's smell. He went along the road into the town. At midnight, Patricius reached Antwerp. The streets were silent and all white with snow. Patricius went inside the cathedral. He knew Nello was there. He saw Nello lying on the cold floor before the altar. He went to Nello and softly licked his face. Patricius, cried Nello. He threw his arm around Patricius. You have come. Let's lie down together and keep warm. Patricius put his head on Nello's breast. They lay close together under Rubens' painting. Suddenly, the moon came out through the door clouds. A white light came into the cathedral. It shone on the curtain of the painting. At the moment, Nello stood up. He stretched his arm and took down the curtain. For the first time, he saw the elevation of the cross and the descent of the cross. Tears ran down his pale face. Now I see them, he cried. How beautiful they are! Oh, it's enough. For a moment, the light shone brightly on the face of Christ in the picture. Then it was gone. Nello gently hugged Patricius again. I'm happy now, Patricius, he said. Slowly, they fell into a deep sleep. On Christmas morning, the priest found Nello and Patricius lying on the floor. The freezing cold had taken their lives. Nello's pale face was turned toward Rubens' painting, and he had a smile on his lips. The news quickly spread all over the little village. The people of the village were ashamed. Soon, Mr. Kojat came to the cathedral with his daughter. He wept bitterly. I was cruel to the boy, he said. I should have treated him like my son. Oh, Nello, cried Alois. We have everything ready for you, and Patricius will be happy too. Nello, wake up. A famous painter also came to the cathedral. I'm looking for a boy who drew a picture of Woodland. He should have won the prize yesterday, he said. He's very talented, and I want to teach him art. But it was too late. Nello and Patricius have been together all their lives. Even death could not separate them. The people of their village made one big grave for them. They placed the boy and dog there side by side. And now Nello and Patricius are at last together forever. Oh, it was a very sad story. As a dog of Flanders, Nello deeply admired Rubens. Nello wanted to be a famous painter like him. Why don't we learn more about Rubens? Peter Paul Rubens was the leading painter in Flanders and one of the top Baroque painters in the 17th century. His work were mostly religious and historical painting. He also drew many portraits and landscape. He is especially well known for his masterpieces such as the elevation of the cross, the descent of the cross. It is amazing. The descent of the cross is one of the 7 national treasures of Belgium. Let's take a closer look at the elevation of cross. It is the central painting of the altarpiece. This altarpiece has 3 connected panels. People are rising close to the cross in the pictures. The movement and the color are stressed according to the Baroque style. One more thing, do you see a dog at the bottom left in the pictures? Oh, I see. Rubens liked to draw dog in his pictures, so next time you see a picture painted by Rubens, try to find the dog. It will be fun. Dog. portrait and landscape. Drew many portraits. As time went by, grandfather became very weak. As time went by, I became very weak. He drew many beautiful pictures. Where do you find a place to draw? I go to mountain. As I go up, I can find many good place for drawing. As I study hard, as I practice English, I became very fluent in English. They were painted by the great artist Rubens. I want to meet Alois. Is she in now? Oh, Alois is not here. She was sent her aunt by her father's. Life became harder for Nello and grandfather's. Harder? Winter is around the corners. It's getting colder. The life became harder. I became sweeter. I became clever. I became smarter. Oh, keep warm and stay healthy. At first, Nello was so nervous that he couldn't see it. Nello was so hungry that he couldn't stand it. I'm having birthday party on Saturday. Can you come with my father's? I can't come, but I can't. He's so sick that he should stay in bed. Care. Together, with mother, father, live,